You had mentioned that as a population, and this population is no different, is resistant to change. That's something that we find sometimes very difficult. So remodeling governance, which is really a very sustainable thought that helps to implement the strategic plan and the new direction. And initially, what was your observation of how the membership was going to react to a change of that magnitude?
It's an interesting question, and the answer may surprise you, but most of the people embraced it, ultimately. I think that there certainly were members that were very upset by it, but they were in the minority. They really were. Most of the membership understood. We just came out of bankruptcy. Our future is challenged because the demand for country clubs is continuously going down and is projected to continue that trend into the foreseeable future. So the change, people did realize there needed to be change. We had some bumps along the way with members that were upset by it, but all in all, I mean, ultimately, our new bylaws were approved by 85% of our membership. So it was, they embraced it.
It's amazing the degree of support that the membership had for not only the new direction, but then the tools necessary to sustain that new direction for the next 100 years.
Right.
But it is very true, and that you have recognized that there are, in any change process, in any business, a group who just doesn't feel comfortable with that change, wants to hold on to the tradition of the past for a multitude of different reasons, and none of it right or wrong.
Sure.
But and in many cases, we tend to view them in a negative way. In reality, you can sometimes look at the group who's being a little resistant, and by understanding what they're being resistant about, we can learn that there are some things maybe that we need to take into account. For the group that has been a little bit resistant towards some of the changes that have gone on at the Country Club of Lansing, what is one thing that we've learned from them that we were able to incorporate and take forward that allowed us to maintain our integrity, not integrity, that's not good, maintain our focus?
We are a country club that's rich with tradition, with 100 years plus of tradition, and it's important that not be lost.
I think it's a great point. That's a great point, is the key characteristics of what got us here: the tradition, the loyalty, the networking, the friendships. And I'm going to go back to a comment that you made to me when we had a chance to do some of our initial discussions, and we started to learn more about each other. We started to really kind of learn from each other the things that were going to be important to the success of this project. One of the things you mentioned to me was when I was a child and I would go with my parents to the Country Club of Lansing, when our car turned into the driveway of the club, I knew I was in a special place. And it was from that very comment that you made that you taught me that this business was all about the experience. That whether you're 5 or 50, you came here to achieve some experience. Now, obviously, a 5-year-old would be looking at a different experience than someone older, but it was still important.
It was.
To have those feelings, to have those experiences. And how many times in business do we miss the real true intent of the end product we're trying to deliver, which is that experience that the customer has with that product or that service?
And to use another example, because I just used this for a friend of mine that was struggling with one of his clients, one of his big clients. And I said, the advice I give to myself and I give to others, I ask myself, what would Casa Checks do? The Casa Checks, is the men's clothing store.
Successful men's clothing.
When you're uncertain of how you should handle one of your paying clients, ask yourself, what would Casa Checks do? Because when you go into Casa Checks, it's all about the experience. Because why are you going to pay 30% more for the same suit? Because you're treated like no other place. It is the best service store I've ever been into, anywhere in the country, and they know how to do it. And if their model could be copied, it could be copied in any other industry. I mean, absolutely.